Hello, my beautiful creative souls, and welcome back for another video. Today, I'm doing my first ever deck destash video, which I'm super excited about. Now, you'll see as I go through these, I not only have decks, but I have books and journals as well. Rather than destash these things separately, I've put them together in different themed bundles, which would be really fun, I thought. And these will all be listed in my Etsy store, which I will leave linked below. For those of you that don't know, I also have a journaling channel with an Etsy shop, so these will kind of be in there if you'd like to check those out. So I'm going to go through each bundle. I'm going to share with you the decks that I'm destashing, why I'm destashing them, my experience with them, flip through them for you, and then of course we'll talk about the other goodies within each bundle. So without further ado, I don't want to make this video too long. Let's just get into it. You'll have to excuse me, I'm still getting over a little bit of a cold, so if my voice sounds funny, that's why. Now, this is the kind of earthy witch bundle. So in this bundle, I have a Willow and Sage Spring 2017 magazine, which I don't think the year matters because it's literally just all like recipes and fun activities that you can do with natural products. I have other editions of this magazine that I've gotten recipes that I really enjoy out of. So this is a lightly worn copy of that with all of the pages included. Then we have the Green Witch, Your Complete Guide to the Natural Magic of Herbs, Flowers, Essential Oils, and more. This was a book that I picked up a while ago and started, but never finished, so I can't give you a full review on it. I have minimal highlighting in the front here in blue. As you'll see, I, again, didn't make it much further into it. It is very, from what I can see, basic. So if you are just starting out, you are new to witchcraft, you're new to working with plants and essential oils and anything like that, this would be a really fun read for you. But do know, again, that there's the highlighting in there. But that is a hardcover. Along with that, we have another lightly worn book. This is the Crystal Healing and Human Energy Field Beginner's Guide. I have had this for a long time, and it's just a really fun, super simple overview of how to do healing work with crystals. I think you can see a theme here, right? This is a stunning handmade paper journal. I had quite a few of these in my collection over the years. And the last one I used was during a very specific time of my life. And whenever I see this one, that's all I can think of. So unfortunately, I can't bring myself to use this one. But somebody who's into kind of that natural, you know, flora thing, whoever gets this will be super ecstatic about that. And then the deck to go with this bundle is the Crystal Oracle, a Guidance from the Heart of the Earth by Tony Carmen Salerno. Now, this is a very well-loved deck. This was one of my original decks that I had when I was a teenager. This came out in 2011 by Blue Angel. The box is slightly scuffed. It did at one time have a glossy texture. And as you can see, because it's well loved, it is a little worn. The clear coating is scuffed off, but the box itself is in, you know, okay condition. The deck is kind of the same way. I used the crap out of this deck. So you'll see as I go through the deck, there are little like scuffs on the backs of some of the cards, like you can see there. They are black gloss, so that makes it, you know, a little harder for that. But other than, you know, the well-worn, loved aspect of it, this is an amazing deck. I have a very large book that I've since got called The Magic is in the Earth. And anytime I need to use a crystal or look up a crystal, I always go in there. And I just really haven't used this in a long time, and I feel like it's such a great deck. It needs a new home. So just it has lots of different crystals in it. If you're new to crystals and you kind of want to learn the various uses for different ones, or you're just obsessed with crystals and want an oracle deck that has them in it, this is a fantastic one. I've definitely recommended it to people before. The cards are very thin and flexible, and I actually prefer that, so that could be like a personal preference thing. But yeah, this is the Crystal Oracle. We'll just go through a few more here. How many cards is this? This is a 44 card deck. It feels like a lot more. I will also point out too, this isn't a misprint. I thought it was at one point. That's why I want to show you. See these lines on the sides? That's like their weird like border. That doesn't happen on the top or the bottom. It's only on the sides. And it's on every single card. And I used to think it was a misprint, but it's actually just part of the design. And then let's pull a card for you, just so you can get a feel of the guidebook, because I feel like that's always important with these oracle cards. You really want to know what the guidebook's like. So whoever is going to purchase this deck, what do they need to know? Selenite, one of my favorite crystals. They are alphabetical. There is a little bit of information in the front of the book, but not a ton. So it's mostly just the messages. And you get 1 page per crystal. So selenite, it gives you keywords: telepathy, soul connection, peace, and tranquility. And then you get the message. It says, it is possible for you to connect with others energetically on a soul level and infuse them with love and healing. This is a telepathic communication in its highest form. Through the formless light of love, it is possible to both send and receive information, provided the information is sought and sent with love. Remember that on a soul level, time and space do not really exist, because all is interconnected and ultimately one. The peace and tranquility you seek can be found by connecting to that ultimate oneness. Go within, for in doing so, you will realize that all is eternal. Nothing is ever lost, and that all is eternally present. So, as you can see, it is very much an oracle. You're not going to learn a ton about each crystal from this deck. It's really just an oracle, but a fun one nonetheless. So that one is the Crystal Earth Witch Oracle bundle. The next bundle I'm calling the Wild Empowered Woman bundle. This has 2 oracle decks within it, which again we'll get to. First you have this notebook with all the celestial things. Brand new little notebook by Arteza. Lined pages in this particular one with some stickers and a stencil in the back. I'd say it's roughly kind of moleskin size. This is a Goddess Provisions little pouch. There's not much you can put in here. I think it's mostly just for like crystals or your oils or something. You could probably put a rune set in here maybe. I didn't really use it. It's just been in storage. I couldn't really find anything that would tickle my fancy to put in there. I have a lot of pouches. But it's like this really interesting, like, waterproof feeling fabric. It's kind of plasticky, but with this super sweet little decal on the pull there. So it's a little pouch. This is a bunch of little scrapbook papers. I really am obsessed with quite a few of these designs. I'm obsessed with this one, and this one, and this one. It's holographic. It's celestial. I love that one. I just, you know, I've used quite a few out of it, and I just really prefer the larger sheets. So if you're into crafting, I apologize for the gross looking adhesive there. Then this would be, and you like smaller journals, this would be a really fun paper stash to tap into. Then the book with this bundle is Women Who Run with the Wolves. Again, a little wear on the cover. Very, very mild highlighting in the first little section here. That's the only thing that I highlighted in this book. Again, everyone raves about this book. It just didn't work for me. I started reading it front to back, which I learned after you're not supposed to do. It's supposed to be like an oracle book, kind of, where you flip it open and read the passages, and I'm sure they're lovely and I love the concept of it. I just couldn't get into it. So hopefully you can. I know it's a very loved book by many. So that's Women Who Run with the Wolves. And then these are our 2 oracle decks. I'm going to go over this one first. I adore this deck. I have it in the larger version and this version. I have had the larger version for literally like ever. And would never, ever, ever part with it. But I got this little edition in a subscription box, and I just, I don't really use it because I prefer the deep dive of the big book. This is really nice, matte, thick cardstock. The images are stunning, and each card comes with a little message on the back for you. So if you wanted to kind of start working with Isis, or maybe you have the big book and you just wanted the little deck to have digestible little messages from, this is a great deck. Again, it's not that this didn't work for me, it's just the mini format isn't my favorite, and I much prefer the larger version. So I want this to go to somebody who's going to be able to utilize it to its fullest potential here. So that is the Isis Oracle. Just flip through quickly here. All right. So that is the Isis Oracle Pocket Edition. It also comes with a little instruction card. I forgot to mention that. And the little paper that comes with it. This is like an advertisement card. Tells you about the actual like publication. And then a little introduction into the deck and how to use it. So that is the Isis Pocket Oracle. Again, highly recommend. Next, we have the Elle Qui Oracle. And this is actually a great little oracle. I used this for quite a few months when I got it. But I've had it for a little while and I haven't gone back to it. And I have this weird thing with decks where every once in a while I'll get a deck and I'll use it for something very specific that I'm going through. And then once that thing is over, once I've worked through that particular event, it almost doesn't have anything for me left. Like, I can't return to it without thinking of the pivotal reading that I did with it before. And it's just like, it's not that it's stuck in the deck, like I've definitely cleared it and everything since then, but it just seems to be it's the imprint of the moment that I was meant to use the deck for, and now the deck and I are complete. And because this deck is so stunning, someone else definitely needs to be able to take advantage of it. So this is a bunch of like archetypes basically. And some are associated with like actual goddesses and other people. There is the name of the person and then the phrase of their description. So this one is she who frees. And then you get some key words. So she who surprises, she who hopes, she who enfolds, she who regrets, she who surrenders, she who is present, she who stands. This is one of my favorite. And yeah, I don't know. I wish that we were still she who creates. I wish we were still working together because this is such a stunning deck, but I don't know, I guess our time is done. She who divines, she who begins. So I definitely want to show you the guidebook because it's really interesting as well. So they are alphabetical. There's not much of an introduction. It's literally one page. And then it just gets right into the meanings. So here you have, again, kind of that same stuff that's on the card. Then you get the description of who she is, the message of the card, and then some questions to journal about, which I think is the funnest part. So that is the kind of wild woman archetype bundle that we have here. Next, we have the self-care bundle. I have 2 self-care oracles and a couple different guided journals in this one. First, we have the Retreat Journal. This is by Goddess Provisions, again, in a box. This is a really cool concept. However, this is a A6 size, and it's teeny tiny. This is a regular sized paperback, and this is the journal. So it's quite small. And the writing is, again, quite small. My camera does not even want to focus on it. But it's really a cool concept. You could definitely, you know, rewrite the different prompts in it, and it's for you to fill up while you're on some sort of retreat, basically. And it has this like puffy cover to it, and it is 67 pages. This also has that puffy cover texture. It's again a Goddess Provisions journal. This one has all kinds of zodiac signs all over it. But it's just, again, it's that A6 size, and it's quite a short journal. I don't know how many pages, but maybe 20, 30. Definitely too short for my particular liking, but if you are somebody who just wanted to create yourself like a little astrological reference book or something, or take like small notes of your chart and be able to keep it in there, I think that'd be a really fun project to do with that. This is another guided journal that came from Goddess Provisions. This one is not puffy and is of quite length. I have highlighted some of the beginning portions of it. This is a book journal combo about Mercury retrograde, which we're about to go into. So I thought that would be kind of a fitting and timely. There is a little mark on the cover to note of colored pencil. Again, I didn't fill out any of the actual journaling portions. I did, however, highlight some of the information about the Mercury retrograde. This is probably the most highlighted page here. Just understanding that there is a Mercury retrograde calendar that goes all the way up to 2026. It talks about self-care during Mercury retrograde, card readings you can do, meditations, what it means when it's retrograde in different signs, different prompts. I mean, this is really, I'm sure, an amazing journal. I'm not that fussed about Mercury retrograde. So after I kind of read the beginning portion, I just was all done with it. So I hope somebody can get some good stuff out of that. And then these are the Sacred Self-Care Oracle and the Stress Reduction Essentials. Now, I really love these decks in theory. They just don't fit in my practice. I used this one a lot, the Sacred Self-Care Oracle, which is stunning. And I do like some of the suggested activities, but again, it just doesn't have a place in my practice. I used them for a while in my client readings, and I just don't feel like it has a place in my particular practice anymore. The artwork is stunning. The cards are thick and matte. And some of the suggestions, like this one, flow like water. I love that. It has some unique ones like chanting, connecting with nature is great, grounding, reading, sync with the moon, make a meal. There is one in here that suggests that you have intimacy, which I think is amazing, but I know some people aren't into that. Energy work, baths, hydrate, pleasure, vision board, body ritual. So it's just, it's a fun deck. Connect with ancestors, look at astrology, connect with fire. If you're into this kind of thing, you actually use these types of decks, I highly recommend this one, especially if you enjoy the imagery and you like the different sorts of things. I found, especially not only in my readings, but in readings for clients, I always got like the same 4 cards. And to be honest, after years of working with that kind of just ticks me. So, amazing deck. It feels like new. There really isn't much wear or anything on it. Even though I used it a ton, it definitely held up well. And again, just time to move on. And then last but not least in this self-care bundle is the Stress Reduction Essentials. And again, an amazing little deck. I love the suggestions in here. This is not a book, just for anyone wondering. It's like a little flappy thing. But this is one of those decks where it has images on the front and the message on the back. This one is gilded. Very lightly used and worn. Imagineering, this one is so cool. I love, again, the suggestions of this deck. I think that the way it's set out is great. You have a self-care practice, suggestions, you have questions you can answer, and a little blurb about it. So basically the guidebook on the cards. However, my big pet peeve. Okay, look at this side. This is the art. That to me would be spend time with animals, right? This is the baths card. And then if we go through here and we look for the girl in the bath, because there is one. There is a girl in the bath. Bath. Time with animals. So they're switched around. It drives me nuts. It drives me absolutely bonkers. I'm a visual person, and that's like really big to me. Some of the images are correct. Like they make sense for what is on the reverse side. Like this one is energy centers. Obviously that is a energy center. That is a chakra. So that one makes sense. Most of them do make sense. However, some of them don't, and it drives me absolutely bananas, and I can't handle it. So that is something to note. If you were looking at this, just beware of that. So that is the self-care bundle with the journals, the Mercury retrograde guide, the self-care oracle, and the stress reduction oracle. I always intend for videos to be quick, and they never are. So hopefully you're enjoying this. This bundle is the Past Lives and Ancient Worlds bundle. So this bundle has 2 decks, 2 books, and a journal. So this is the journal. It's another one of those Arteza moleskin size notebooks. This one happened to have dot grid in it, and it comes with the stickers and the stencil there. Then the 2 books are Many Lives, Many Masters, the Timeless Classic. This book I did read front to back. I don't believe there's any highlighting in there. There's my old bookmark. I use playing cards for bookmarks. So, you know, it is a little older looking, but still in good condition. I very much enjoyed reading this book. I remember reading this book on the canoe, and that was a lot of fun. One of my summer reads a couple years ago, but I don't think I'm going to pick it back up again, so it's time to pass it on. This is Ancient Aliens in Egypt. I am obsessed with learning about Egypt. I love things like Ancient Aliens. I feel like I'm kind of full up on it at the moment, especially in terms of, you know, I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, the cover is glossy. It's a soft cover. It has a little slight wear on it. But for the most part, again, brand new. Comes with really cool color pages in the center of some things. And yeah, if you're into that thing, you'll hopefully enjoy the book. Next, I have a deck that I wanted to love and love the feel of, but just didn't work for me, and a deck that I used the crap out of that just, I think our time is done together. So I'll go through this one first. Again, this is one I've had for a long time. I've used it over and over and over again. It is kind of an emotions deck, which I did not think about as being a soul's journey thing. But there it is. The guidebook just has the card meaning, the phrase on the card, and then a little bit about kind of that emotion or concept, but I feel like they're mostly emotions or themes. This has to do with like your past lives and healing karma and things like that, but you can just use it as an emotions deck. It is glossy. It was gilded. The gilding is quite worn, especially on the corners from me using it. You'll see, again, kind of the gilding wear there. So if you like a nice, loved feeling deck, this would be your guy. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I was never really into the imagery on this deck, but I still used it a lot just for the emotions and things on it, and I feel like I just don't really have a space for it in my practice anymore, especially since I've gotten into tarot. All of these emotions are represented within the tarot system, so I don't really feel like I need the oracle anymore, but it is a really great one, especially if you're at one point I was really needing to get in touch with identifying different emotions and how I felt about things, and moving from one emotion to another. So this is a great deck for that, and well loved, but ready for a new home. And then lastly in this bundle is the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. Now I have a huge pet peeve to pick with this, because it's not a tarot deck, it's an oracle deck, and you shouldn't call it a tarot deck unless it's a tarot deck. But that's a discussion for another time. So it comes with a guidebook. The guidebook is pretty cool. This deck takes archetypes of tarot and most of the structure and gives you keywords instead of the tarot words, and has removed the tens and the court and replaced them with chakra cards. So there's a lot going on in this. If you're looking to learn tarot, this is not the deck for you. It has some cool information about some of the clairs. It talks about, you know, the different tarot suits, the major arcana, some of the numerological symbols, and each card has a card reproduction with the meaning, and if there is a traditional tarot card associated with it, it will tell you what that is in the book. only for the majors. It doesn't tell you for the minors. And they are color-coded. So, things I loved about this deck. I love the chakra cards. I love the feel. It's like a small oracle size. I have tiny hands. I have an issue with being able to shuffle decks. I can riffle shuffle this deck. I can shuffle it this way, just barely. So it is a little smaller than standard oracle size, but a little bigger than a regular tarot size. I love the cardstock on this. It's glossy. It's super flexy. I think that's a dream to shuffle. I feel like it's feels the most like a regular deck of cards, and it's very nostalgic for me. Now, all the major arcana cards, again, are renamed. However, he has kept the concept of them. So that is, you know, helps. I did not like the art in this deck. They definitely got me with the word psychic. Because, I don't know, I felt like that was going to be... I don't know what expectations I had for it, but I definitely had more expectations, I guess. So if you're someone who wants to play with the tarot archetypes, but you don't want to do it in tarot, you prefer oracle, this could be a really awesome deck for you. What usually would be the suits are split up with different colors, and the colors do not match the colors that are associated with the elements in my brain, which was very hard for me to get behind. Red to me is fire, but in this deck it's earth. And what would be the pentacle suit? So you will see the keywords do line up with most of the tarot traditional meanings. And again, there are no tens and there are no courts. So it's not a complete deck for tarot. Cups in this are green, which is water. To me, that's blue. I guess because of the chakras, it's associated with green because of heart chakra, and red would be the root chakra. So that's why the pentacles are that way. But again, it just doesn't make sense in my brain. It makes it hurt. This was also one of those decks. Blue is swords or air. This is one of those decks that I actually got along with really well until I did one specific reading with it for somebody, and then it just seemed to be the end. Like, I didn't pick it back up again. When I did pick it up, it didn't really work. And purple is fire or passion. Spirit in this deck, they call it. But yeah, and anytime I think about this deck, I think about that reading that I did for that person. And again, no matter how many times I've cleared it, it's what's imprinted in my mind. And I guess that was the end of our time together. So, and then you have the chakra cards, which I believe go 1 through 7. And the crown. So your basic chakras. So that is the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. What does someone need to know who's thinking about getting this deck? Prosperity begins. Ace of Pentacles. That is the many lives. That is the past lives and ancient Egypt bundle. Getting down to the last few here. This is what I am kind of calling a beginner bundle. This is actually the deck that I first tried to learn tarot with. The deck imagery didn't click for me. It wasn't until I got the deck after this that I finally understood. I did find it mildly confusing. There is minimal highlighting in here. However, if you're just looking for the basics, you want one deck, you want very like quick digestible meanings, this isn't bad. There's no keywords in there, so keep that in mind. If you just like this deck, you may want to work with it. This is the Gilded Tarot. It came with the book. I don't have the original like box set for it. It wasn't anything special. This deck is very worn and well loved because, again, I used this probably for a good first year as I was learning tarot. It has Llewellyn style cardstock, if you're familiar with that. Again, very well loved. It's still fine, functions fine, but if you like the broken in deck feel, you're going to like this. And this deck isn't bad. Like, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't tickle my fancy. It's got this like weird otherworldly meets ancient feel with CGI and sometimes real looking people, sometimes not. It's definitely like a bad computer game rendering. That's how it feels to me. This is no shade on whoever does this art. It's just like how I feel about it. Again, some of it feels steampunky. Some of it feels ethereal. Some of it, like this one definitely looks like a real person. Some of them don't. This guy looks like a real person and I think he's super creepy. But it does follow Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. You will definitely be able to learn the meanings. There's like little animals throughout. Like there's a squirrel on top of there. There's mice in this one. So again, it's not a bad deck. It was the only deck I used for a long time. I learned with this deck, but it wasn't a deck that gave me an aha moment. I think that if you're going to use it to learn tarot, you need another supplemental book, but this will be fine to get you started. It gives you that kind of wisdom broken in feel. The colors are very vibrant, very pretty. Much like the Psychic Tarot, each suit has its own color with it. Red is wands. Let's see. Pentacles are green. That checks out. I feel like there was one that bothered me. Yeah, so swords are blue. And cups are yellow. I flip those. To me, swords are yellow and cups are blue. But again, that's the weird like color thing that happens with my brain. I don't know why. It's just how my brain works. But that is the Gilded Tarot. And it's funny that it says Gilded Tarot because there's definitely no gilding on it. I'm sure it means a different type of gilded, but oh, and I forgot about this. Okay, so I did not trim this deck, but not all of the cards are even. Can you see this? So just something to keep in mind. I didn't trim it. That is that came like that. And that's a beginner set that you can buy. So I don't know if it's just this particular one. It just comes in a little tuck box too. So maybe if you want to use it for crafts or I don't know. I don't know. Then we have this little insert, which is super fun. It's just a A6 size notebook. It has like a tarot draw, notes on the draw, reflection, deck, focus, location. So if you're somebody who's just starting out and you want to practice with daily draws, this is a great little notebook to do that in. There's also space for spreads. I believe this is a Celtic cross spread. And then whatever that 6-card spread is, I guess. So a fun little notebook to play around with. I never used it, but because I'm not very good with such a small size, but that's there. And then this is another one of those decks that I got, really liked, and then our time ended together. And this is the messages from the Mermaids Oracle. This is a very beginner-friendly oracle. I think this would be great to clarify tarot with, again, if you're just starting out. It's just keywords and pictures of mermaids. That's really all it is. There is some diversity in the mermaids, which is really fun. There's definitely certain mermaids that I loved the look of, but overall I don't think that this art style is really my favorite, so that was part of a deciding factor. And I already have other decks with these keywords on it that I use more, and such a beautiful deck deserves a new home. So I put it back in order. It is alphabetical. That's how the guidebook is laid out. Try to go a little faster here. You've been here forever. But that is messages from the mermaids from Karen K. And then this is the guidebook. Go with the flow is our little message here. So you get like a little like snippet in the beginning, let go and go with the flow. You'll get where you need to be when you surrender and trust with the natural flow. And then it gives you an oracle style message there. So again, really great for beginners. If you love mermaids and you like this art style, it's a great deck. It's great with little keywords, and you still get like a nice message within the guidebook if you want to use the guidebook. But I think our time is done. So that is the beginner's bundle. So we have 2 left and a bonus book bundle at the end. So this is a brand new book. This is Anxiety Free with Food. I purchased this because it was on sale, and I got it online, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I've decided to pass it on. It's got some interesting recipes. It looks like it talks a little bit about it kind of reads more like a diet book to me than a spiritual book, which is kind of what I was looking for, which surprised me since it's by Hay House, but I didn't read it, so you know, I could be wrong in my assumption. But that book comes with this. And then I've decided to let go of the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle. I did a whole video on spending an entire month with this deck. I have very many feelings about this deck. I will try to keep those to myself in this video. If you want to hear all the juicy details, you can go watch that video. Comes with this guidebook. Unfortunately, the guidebook is a little marked up, just for you to be aware of there. I literally have no idea how it happened, but it seems to pick up pen very quickly. The guidebook has no index, so when you are looking at the cards, you need to look up the cards by the suit and then just by chance. It says they're ordered in the order of the intelligence of the animal or something like that, which I'm going to keep that to myself. But the guidebook has some keywords at the top, a little blurb, and then when it's in balance and when it's out of balance. This is not a deck for you to use if you're looking to learn about the animal in any way. This is strictly a oracle message from the spirit of the animal, as she would say. I do very much enjoy this little saying inside. The box inside the box is holographic. And this is the deck. The artwork is amazing. I do have to give them that. The artwork is fantastic. There are spiders and snakes in here, so if that bothers you, just a heads up. I feel like I don't really want to say much about this deck. It didn't work for me. Bottom line, it didn't work for me. I, for a long time, said I was just going to keep it because of the art. I considered very heavily making my own guidebook for it because I wanted a deck that would tell me about the actual animals. And I would 100% still be pursuing that idea if it wasn't for the cardstock. The cardstock is, I mean, it's good quality, but the edges almost feel sharp in a way. They're not sharp, like you're not going to cut yourself, but there's just something about the way that they're cut that feels sharp. It's not matte, it's not satin, it's not gloss. I don't know what that is. I have no other deck that has the same finish as it. I know tons and tons and tons of people love this deck. There are some mythological creatures in here. Again, an amazing artwork, amazing little deck. Just too many things that aren't for me, unfortunately. And I am not going to kid myself and keep it in the hopes that I'll write another guidebook about it because I don't like the cardstock. So that's the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle. I hope that it finds a beautiful home because the images are stunning. It just didn't work for me. And then this last one, I don't quite know what to call it. Maybe the Antique Digger or something like that. These are all older, more loved decks or loved on decks with a very interesting book and a random statue that I don't know how it found its way into my collection. It might have been a gift at one point, but it just, I can't get over this flying monkey on it. It's just too funny. So that will be a wonderful little addition to someone's home. Maybe we'll call this the quirky bundle. I don't know. So this book is really fun. This is a What the Bleep Do We Know? And if you love asking questions about things, thinking about the universe, philosophy, mysticism, occultism, challenging the status quo, science, like all of that is in here. It talks about superstitions, it talks about God, it talks about black holes, it talks about, is reality even a thing or not? Pondering the other side, quantum physics, brain, like just so many nerdy things. It's a really fun read. I read this a long time ago and I can't remember much of it, but I hope to read it again and I hadn't picked it up. So that's the What to Bleep Do We Know? Next we have the Karma cards. So these are like a for fun fortune telling deck, but with a astrology twist. I liked the concept of this, but I just don't really read futures, and the way that the deck works didn't work for me. It comes with a guidebook in this really nice little hardcover thing. It does explain how to use the cards, so once you understand the concept of using the cards, it's actually quite easy. It has a fun little index where you can find the things in there, and it does explain different aspects of the houses, meaning the different planets. It explains a brief overview of different signs, so it's a nice kind of little digestible beginner thing. But the way that you use the cards is really just for fun. So you have the signs the planets, and the houses. And forgive me, I don't fully remember the directions, but you shuffle each of the piles individually. And the SMP stands for different types of questions. And then when you choose one from each pile, you lay them out together and you read it in a line. I'm going to guess this is the line. Yeah. So you have, if you read the top, it would say energies to meet the challenge of the drive for who you are, resulting from the honesty and strength of action, specifically your actions. So it's like I don't know, it's a fun concept. You get to learn some of the different energies between how these signs interact with the planets, interact with the houses. But it's just not something you could use for a regular like day-to-day reading. But if you're someone who likes to like learn and explore those things and just like have fun with it for the sake of having fun with it, this is a great deck to kind of use to explore that. Next we have Gypsy Witch fortune telling cards, and these are, the box is quite battered, as you can see, and for the longest time I couldn't understand what the heck this deck was, and I finally figured it out. This is a Lenormand deck. So inside you have this little white book, and it gives you a very short description of how you do this very complicated reading. That is the Lenormand. And then on each card, you have the original like playing card that would have been associated with the Lenormand imagery and a little description of what that Lenormand thing means. This is all understanding of figuring out what this deck was. I do not read Lenormand. I do not know much about Lenormand. But if you wanted to learn, this might be a nice little addition for that. So that is the Gypsy Witch fortune telling cards. And again, you'd want to explore the Lenormand with this. I don't really do fortune telling things, and I got this before I really knew anything about cards because I was fascinated with the idea of Gypsy Witch card reading. And then last but not least in this little bundle, we have the Cosmic Deck of Initiation. And if I look this up, this is probably like an out-of-print antique deck, and I should probably be selling it for a bunch of money, but that's just not who I am. So this is a really great deck. I think the guidebook in this is fantastic. It has universal ideas. It has the houses. It has universal laws. It has the astrological signs, but I just can't get into it because the imagery just doesn't do anything for me. I'm not a sacred geometry type of person, but when I did do readings with this deck and used the book, it was like those mind-blowing good readings, you know. So yes. Oh, this must be like the title card. And it is a circular deck, you know, which makes it kind of fun. They're all just like geometric color imagery. So that is the mind expanding, maybe that's what I'll call it, bundle. And then really quick and probably very seemingly unrelated to divination bundles is my little book bundle here. This is a true crime nerd bundle. I used to be really into researching serial killers and cold cases, and I wanted to be a forensic psychologist, which I changed my mind on after I got my bachelor's degree in psychology. But anyway, these are some of the books from that collection that I have decided to pass on. This is a really interesting book. It talks about the psychology of why we are interested in serial killers, and just the different things that are learning about them, and some basic understandings of them, myths about them, stuff like that. This is the psychological development, the theory of how one kind of comes to that point of becoming said serial killer. You'll see, of course, very, nature versus nurture, goes over Dahmer. It goes over, who else? Fred and Rose. John Wayne Gacy, classically. So another interesting read. And then this, probably one of my favorites in this pile. This is the Skeleton Crew. And this is a book about regular people who went on the internet and just studied cold cases and helped solve some of them. Just talking about it gives me chills. So it's literally just like cases that were solved by random people on the internet who were just really passionate about solving the cold case and were able to help law enforcement solve it years later. So a really fun summer read. So that's kind of the that's the criminal psychology bundle. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of my D-stash video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found something that tickles your fancy. If you did, I'll leave the links to the different bundles below. And even if you didn't, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and just kind of seeing some of the different decks that I'm choosing to pass on and listen to why. I love decluttering videos, so and seeing why different things did or didn't work for certain people. So yeah, thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you guys again soon. Take care, guys.